Hey y'all, it's Crystal. Thanks so much for stopping in. So we're just gonna do a little check-in, a little reading check-in today. It's about mid-month, so let's talk about things I've gotten into this month so far, and all that good stuff. Yeah, we're just gonna talk about some books, right? So let's dive right into what I have finished already for the month, and we'll go from there. So I did take part of the Upside Down Readathon, which was so much fun, and I did a vlog about that. So the books that I read in that vlog, I won't talk a crazy amount here, of course, but I will mention them just really briefly. And then there are some other things, of course, that I've been reading. Okay, stuff and things. Let's go. So I finished Thor by Wayne Smith. This was for Kelly Hooked on Books' From Hell Book Club, and it was for the previous month, actually. I'm a little behind, but I finished it right at the beginning of the month. And oh gosh, I really enjoyed this one. It was really entertaining, really good book. So we're following a family of five, excuse me, drop something. A family of five, five, I think, 3 kids, yeah. And their dog. Their dog's name is Thor. Yeah, and he is a lovable and protective German Shepherd. And as the story moves on, there's an uncle. The mom of the family has a brother, and he has suffered a loss recently in a relationship, so they're kind of worried about him. He seems a bit different. Something's off. Something's changed. He comes to stay with them for a little while, and Thor notices that change right away. And lo and behold, something ain't right with Uncle. So I loved this book. A lot of the perspective is from the dog. So is Thor, wondering, like, being protective of his family, trying to investigate the uncle. It was just a delight. Honestly, it was really, really good. I just really enjoyed it. And I liked the, what was going on with the uncle and how that turned out. And so I don't want to say too much to spoil it, but gosh, yeah, I really enjoyed that one. So yeah, I liked that a lot. Okay, so now we're going to get into primarily let's do the Stranger Things stuff really quickly. So I read a bunch of Stranger Things graphic novels for the readathon. Erica the Great, in which Erica plays D&D with a group of her girlfriends. Shenanigans ensue. It was cute. The Bully, in which we follow, the bully from season 1, season 2. I think it was in season 2 a little bit too. Kind of a side story for that guy. Science Camp. I really enjoyed this one because it was, of course, how Dustin, met his girlfriend, and there's like a slasher feel to this one because something is taking out the camp counselors. So of course it's up to the group of kids to figure out what's going on. I read 6, which is kind of a prequel type story, as we're following number 6 as she makes her way into Hawkins' lab and the experiments that are going on there and what happens there. It was really good. This one was really good. Yeah, I liked it. This one's Dungeons and Dragons, and this one was really sweet. It was basically going through how the kids started playing Dungeons and Dragons when they were little tiny, what Dungeons and Dragons has meant to them, over the years, and I don't know, it was really sweet. And this one was also really sweet, a bit bittersweet, because this is the Tomb of Yebwen, and so it does include a little storyline about Bob here, and it was super nice, kind of a Goonies feel to it, which nice kind of wink and a nod to Sean Astin playing the character of Na. There's a treasure map that the kids are following. It was really sweet. So I really enjoyed these comics. I think if you're a Stranger Things fan, you'll enjoy them just because it's, it takes you back to Hawkins, right? So yeah, I had a good time with those. And I also finished Psycho for that readathon, but it is also a pick for Rachel Over the Shades of Orange, her book club, Patreon book club that she's got going on. This was our pick for the month, so I used that for the prompt for the readathon to read a psychological thriller. I think it fits pretty well. This is also one of my shorty September books to read a book and then watch the movie adaptation. I haven't had a chance to watch the movie again yet, but hopefully by the end of the month I can squeeze it in, because I would like to rewatch it after reading this, because I love this. I hadn't read this before. I'd seen the movie, a handful of times. Always loved it. Just a great movie. So even though I know the story, I know the twists, I knew it was coming, I still really enjoyed this book. Of course, because it's a book, you get more information, and you get more actually insight into the kind of mind of Norman Bates in the book, which I appreciated. And I don't know, this was really good. So if you've not read it yet, it is a short one, short and sweet, really well written. It was really good. I was very, very thrilled with that. So next up for the readathon, I did finish Phantom Lover by Rebecca York, and this was a prompt to read a book with lights on the cover. This is also a choice of mine for Autumn Amour, which is a romance readathon hosted by the Bookish Bryants and a handful of other folks. So this was a lot of fun too. It had a bit of a gothic feel. So we're following this woman. What was her name again? I forget. Bree. That's right, Bree. As she is kind of been hired. She's like part of a detective, like private investigating kind of company. So she's been hired by a friend of hers to go check out her brother, the woman's brother, at this sort of estate called Ravencrest. It's on like the cliffs of the California mountains, the brother, the man's wife has, recently passed away. The brother is acting funny and, all that kind of stuff. And then she gets there and there's like a couple of like staff people there, like a housekeeper and all that kind of stuff. Things are fishy. There might be ghosts. I don't know. There's like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like tunnels that go throughout the estate, and there's definitely some spookiness going on in here. I don't know. I had a good time with this one, and it was a lot of fun. So I don't know much else to say, really. Kind of, it is what it is. It's sort of a gothic-y romance, but it's a bit updated for these times. Anyway, okay, so the last book I read for the readathon was this Saturday Night Ghost Club by Craig Davidson, and I really enjoyed that book. This is one I've had on my Kindle for, a couple of years now, and so I'd been interested in it. So this was the buddy read for the readathon. All the hosts picked a book to buddy read based off of a favorite character, and so that was really fun. Anyway, Saturday Night Ghost Club was really wonderful, really nice coming-of-age type of story. It wasn't quite as light as I was thinking it was going to be. It definitely dealt with some hard topics, and I don't know, it was just really great. So we're following a young guy. Well, he's a man, he's telling a story. Like, he's telling a story of his childhood, right? He's about, I think maybe he's about 12-ish or so, we'll say, as he's reminiscing in the past, and then particularly his relationship with his uncle. And his uncle was kind of one of those kooky characters, and he ran this, they lived like in the Niagara Falls area on the Canadian side, and so his uncle ran this kind of shop of curiosities kind of place, and was like big into conspiracy theories and all that kind of stuff, and was just a kind of an odd character, but was a nice guy, but not, everyone likes him, and he and his nephew just had a really great relationship. And so that summer, the kid gets a couple of friends that move into town, and his uncle and those two friends start what they call a Saturday Night Ghost Club, and they go kind of check out some kind of local legends of where some ghosts may be and that kind of stuff. And so they do all that kind of stuff, but we're also really learning more about the uncle, kind of why he is kooky like he is. It's very bittersweet and sad, and very touching, and it was really lovely. It is very short, also, I think just over 200 pages. A really wonderful coming of age. I don't know, I thought it was really wonderful. So I was so glad to have finally read that one. It was really great. So I think that's all the readathon stuff. So let's move on to some other things. I finished a series. Can you believe it? I know. who even am I? I listened to the audiobook for Mad Addam by Margaret Atwood. So this is book 3 of the Mad Addam trilogy. The book 1 is, of course, Orcs and Crake. It's a dystopian sort of story, and so without saying too much there, because it's kind of hard to explain as a trilogy. I may do like sort of a separate book chat on like the trilogy, maybe, just to kind of further flesh out the thoughts. If you're interested in that, let me know. I think I'd like to do that. But anyway, so this is book 3 of the series, and we're following a couple of different characters. But essentially, this world was demolished by a viral output. A virus has knocked out a lot of the world, and people, how are they surviving? It flashes back to periods before and after, and that continues into book 3. But sort of we pick up more of the story, of course, as the series goes on. And even though like the books, they relate to each other, but they're not like necessarily a continuation like 1, 2, 3. I do recommend reading them in the 1, 2, 3 order, just because of how the story plays out. So yeah, but I ended up really loving that series overall. Mad Addam was maybe my least favorite, just because I think we're following a character where I wasn't really all that. One of the characters I just kind of was like, I'm not really sure why we're following this guy, but then you get to why you're following the guy, so it was good. So I did like it. I think overall the series is just a 4-star series probably for me as a whole. I really enjoyed it. So, but yeah. Okay, so after that, what's next? Yeah, I listened to the audiobook again for Woman Eating by Kohda. So I had been wanting to read this. It was on my radar. Ollie over at Criminality talked about it, and he was really kind of surprised by it and liked it. And so I needed an audiobook, and so I listened to it, and gosh, I really liked it. It's a different sort of take on a vampire story. We're following a woman who is a vampire, but she doesn't live as a vampire as we think of a vampire, like feasting off of people and gothic vibes. It's not like that. She's very much living in the modern day, and she is trying to kind of make her way into the kind of art world. She's moved to, I think, London area, and has taken up this internship with like this really prestigious gallery. She's moved into a studio space and met some of the other artists that are around the studio. But her mother, who was also a vampire, is like not doing very well, and she's basically like put her in like a home. so she's really trying to navigate being on her own for the first time, and like how does she source the food that she needs, which is basically animal blood, all this kind of stuff, and having a difficult time with that. So feeling those temptations of other things, maybe we'll say. Yeah, it's a really quiet story. It's not, like I said, it's not a bunch of blood and guts and gore or anything like that. It's a very quiet story about this woman just really trying to, like, how do I live the way I need to live while also having a life that I enjoy. I really liked it. Yeah, I really liked it. But it's a quiet kind of story. But if you're looking for a different sort of take on a vampire story, I would definitely recommend it. I really liked it a lot. So, for what it's worth. Okay, so the last thing that I finished it over, I think, last weekend, is Negative Space by B.R. Yeager. And I loved this. I absolutely loved it. But I don't know how to really talk about it to you because it's a strange one. So the gist of it is we're in a small town, and we're following kind of a group of teenagers as they're trying to just day to day live their life in this small town of being, kind of a go nowhere, do nothing town. I don't know if you know that kind of vibe of a small town. There's a lot of drug use in here. They definitely, escape through drug use. But also this town has a really high number of suicides. And so there's that. And how does that play into the role of what these kids are dealing with, and really everybody in the town. There's an occult nature to this, where there's a specific drug that a group of kids are using. It's called whirl, and some are using this as a kind of gateway to something else, a discovery, it's so hard to talk about. And I'll just say that there's rituals involved and all that kind of stuff. We're following the perspective of like 3 characters, and they are all, and how they relate to another character in this book who is pretty central to the story, named Tyler. Tyler is the one that he's enigmatic. He draws people to him. He's the one that's really kind of deep diving into this drug as a source of, or as a method of, again, reaching some sort of higher existence. And there's a character, Jill, who is like a girlfriend. There's Amir, who is like a best friend guy. And there's another character named Lou, who is connected with Jill. It's a thing. It's hard to talk about. Again, it's really hard to explain this book. I'm not a tabber, but I marked a lot of things in this book. I underlined a lot of lines in here. I thought it was really wonderfully written. There are some sections in here that you read a sentence or a paragraph, and I just was like, oh man, that's good stuff, and I definitely appreciated that. I always like when you just read some good writing, and yeah, so I didn't really know how to talk about it other than it's a strange book. So if you like weird fiction that has a really dark side, definitely some horror elements in here, I would just say read it. Don't read much about it, just read it, because it's worth your time, but it's not for everyone. I will say it's not for everyone because of the way it's written, the writing style, and the subject matter is probably just kind of weird to some people. And if you don't like ambiguous story, ambiguous endings, you don't read this one either. You're not going to like it. But if you don't mind a just sort of an exploration of, again, being it really captures being a teenager, looking for others to kind of fulfill happiness in yourself. A lot of apathy in here. It's just good. I don't know. I just freaking loved it. And so I did read this as a sort of group read with Steve Talks Books, hosted a group read over on his forums, and we did a live chat. So I will link that below. We did a live chat with Steve Talks Books. Pax Panic was there, and Daniel, who is on Steve's forums. We tried to make some sense of this one, and we had a really great time talking about it. So if you want, maybe if you don't mind some spoilers, maybe, or you're wanting do I want to read this, maybe check that out, because we do discuss some things and some ideas of maybe what we thought were going on in here. So this book is a vibe. So if you like the vibe of it, definitely give it a go, because I thought it was really wonderful. It's just, I like weird. This is my kind of weird. So yeah, I loved it, but it's just hard to talk about, So if you've read it, let me know and we'll chat about it. Okay, so that's all I finished, and so that kind of puts us into this current week that we're in. And I've not been reading very much at all this week. It's just been one of those weeks, and it's just been one of those weeks. I don't know. I have not really wanted to read very much, and that's just how it goes. I have been reading Fairy Tale. This is Stephen King's newest book. This was our choice for the Stephen King read along that we do over on Brad Proctor's Discord. And I am on the struggle bus with this one, y'all. I know a lot of people are liking it. I'm struggling with it. A lot of this section, we'll say maybe like all of this, it's just character build up, and we're learning about this teenager that we're dealing with and his family life, and how he gets hooked up with this older guy that's in his neighborhood as he helps him because he fell off a ladder and broke his leg. and there's a dog involved and all that stuff. And this older man is basically like a keeper of this kind of gateway to another realm. So much of this has been character build up, and I'm normally I'm all for slow moving stories, lots of character build up, and I usually love when King does that. And it's not that I don't like the characters, but I'm also just kind of bored with this book. I don't know. I don't know. More thoughts to come. I don't know. I'm struggling with it though. I did make a start on Bear by Marian Engel, so just a little bit over half-ish way through. I've been kind of reading this on my lunch breaks when I felt like reading it. And this is another really quiet type of story, a bit of a slow story. We're following this woman as she's like a librarian, and she has moved up to this sort of isolated cottage on this island up in Canada somewhere. And she is documenting kind of the, the belongings of this colonel who has, his estate has been bequeathed to the library. So she's kind of went up there to document everything and all this kind of stuff and see what the library wants, all that kind of stuff. And there's also a bear that lives on this island that was kind of kept as a pet. And so she is getting connected with this bear and goes from there. I guess I'm halfway through. So I'm liking it so far, but it is a quiet, type of story though. So if that's not your jam, maybe you won't like it, but yeah, I'm enjoying it so far for what the story is, right? What else? I think that's it. I feel like there's something else. Maybe not. So let me look at my book stack. Oh yeah, I did make a start on this. I was like, I feel like there's something else. I started something else. I did try to make a start on this one. We Can Never Leave This Place by Eric LaRocca. I'm literally up to chapter 4. Again, I have not wanted to read them much this week, so but I'm very intrigued by this to see what in the world is going on, because this definitely has hooked me in these first few chapters I've read. Again, I've been feeling a little bleh. So that's it for reading update. I'll show you a small haul. I did pick up Static Lullaby by J. Giles K, also known as Bunny and Mr. K over on Instagram. This is this is something that he has put out, so I just kind of wanted to check it out. And yeah, I think it's a short story collection, I believe, so I'm looking forward to checking it out. It's a great cover, and I think this was done by Northwest Reader, right? Yeah, Trueborn Design. So she has a YouTube channel also. She does book covers, and this one's really great. I did pick up another Stranger Things graphic novel because I thought I'd had this one, but I didn't. So I picked up Into the Fire, and this is essentially a continuation of the storyline that started in 6 that I showed you earlier. And yeah, so I'm very curious where that goes. I got my Nightworms package, so spoiler for Nightworms if you haven't opened yours yet, but we got 2 great books. This one I've been very curious about. Anybody Home by Michael J. Seidlinger. I think this is a home invasion type of story. Creepy. And Gemma Moore's newest one I'm very excited about, called Full Immersion. Very excited for this one. And of course it always comes with the signed book plates that we get in our Nightworms. So yeah, I'm super excited. That was a great package. Of course we got other, they sent us other little goodies, teas and stuff too. Okay, so I think that's it. So yeah, this week, like I said, I just have not been feeling my best. I think, we know that life has peaks and valleys, right? So I've been kind of hanging out in a valley this week, not really feeling very well, struggling with work. I don't know, struggling with work. My kids kind of having some struggles with getting back into the rhythm of going to school. I've just been in a valley. So I've been watching a lot of K-pop and listening to a lot of K-pop this week. It's just kind of helped me make it through the day. So listening to their music, watching reels and shorts of K-pop things, particularly when I say K-pop, I particularly mean, of course, BTS and the Stray Kids. They're my faves. And I sometimes feel silly when I talk about K-pop because I'm like a 44-year-old woman, but I don't know, it's kind of like when we talk about guilty pleasures, right? Like, why do I feel bad for things that literally bring me happiness? Like, yeah, they are uplifting for me, and I enjoy just seeing what they get up to and listening to their music, watching their videos, whatever. It has brought me joy this week. So here is me sort of coming out as a K-pop fan. I've been listening to BTS, gosh, on and off for years. My sister turned me on to BTS, gosh, years ago now. And there's something about Stray Kids I just love. So let me know if you are a BTS or Stray Kids fan. But there are other K-pop groups that I'll listen to every now and then, but those two, they're my faves, particularly BTS. I watched the Permission to Dance concert again last night. It's on Disney Plus. It's such a fun show, and anyway, so don't deny yourself the things that bring you joy. If it helps you get out of those sometimes dark places that we find ourselves, right? So what has brought you joy this week? Let me know. Or are you struggling? I see you, and virtual hugs, sending you lots of love your way. So here's to getting out of, climbing out of those valleys that we find ourselves into. So maybe the upcoming week will get a bit better for me, I'm hoping. And I think I'll end it here. This is long now, so if you've made it this far, so of course, thanks so much for watching. I always appreciate it. I love when you comment, and subscribe if you haven't. Would love to have you, and I'll try to put up some more videos this coming week. I'm hoping to do some tags today also. So yeah, hang in there, everyone. Hope you're doing well, and thanks for watching. Bye.